All right, folks, I wanted to push out a new Battletech video for you all. I know it's been a while since we've chatted. I am actually working on the intro to the clans, how to pick a faction, intro to the clans video. It's turning out to be a much bigger project than I originally anticipated because I'm kind of going down the rabbit hole and getting a lot of really good details there. So that's taking a little bit of more time than I had thought, but I figured let's do some content while we're building out on that. I feel kind of bad that we haven't had a chat in a while. So I started down this other project. Part of my challenge is that I have too many projects that I like to dream up and then execute on. It takes me a little while, but I eventually get there. But anyways, I got super excited about this current project that I worked on, and I'm actually I'm kind of done with it for now. I might come back to it at some point, but I've got some mechs here that I put together, and the idea here is, what is a Frankenmech? And so I got this idea as I'm kind of going through. I've done most of my inner sphere, primary, major houses factions to this at this point. I've done all the major factions. I've started looking at maybe some Comstar, maybe some Star League Defense Force stuff, kind of earlier in the lore. And my dream is at one point to have like a Star League Defense Force versus Tarian Concordat periphery powers, kind of the reunification wars sort of campaign, either through Alpha Strike or Classic. I'm not sure which, but I think it would just be really cool, kind of doing an earlier genre Battletech game. But anyways, I digress. So while I've been putting together some of those factions for the Inner Sphere, and I started looking at some of the periphery stuff. And, I've never really given the periphery a good look in the past, but now that I'm kind of getting into it, it's like, okay, this is super cool. Kind of Mad Max meets, just cobble things together, in like, Wasteland Warriors meets Mad Max meets Mercenaries meets, Tatooine, Wretched Hive of Scum and Villainy. You put all those things together, add a good dash of big stompy robot death, and hard sci-fi universe, and that is, there's ample substance to explore there in the Battletech universe. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do more than just paint up a couple periphery factions. I want to really get into this. And the thing, in all honesty, the thing that really inspired me was as I bought the periphery source book. You can find it on Amazon, I think, but it shows, I think it is a Banshee and another mech. I can't remember which one, but they've kind of got like these spikes on them. One's got a ball and chain, and they're like in close combat, and they're kind of smashing each other, and like it's so evocative, and it's so unique to the universe. And I said, I gotta do something like that. And so I know it's maybe a little bit unusual in the Battletech hobby to maybe carve up your mechs and do something different with them, like in other miniature war games hobbies, converting, like in Warhammer 40k or Horus Heresy or Necromunda, or a lot of other game systems where it's just commonplace to convert things up. I said, why not Battletech? Right? And then so I kind of went down this rabbit hole of building Frankenmechs that are kind of my periphery pirate junker collection. And what you've got in front of you here is kind of the sum total of the work that I've done to date. I don't know that I'm done. I'm done for now, but I'm not done. And so I guess for those of you maybe newer to the Battletech universe, those coming in from Warhammer or from other places, and you maybe not have all the context. When I say Frankenmech, it's exactly what you might think. So you go to Sarna, you look up Frankenmech, and Frankenmech is, I'm going to quote here directly, Frankenmech is an informal term referring to a battle mech or a mech that combine parts from different other mech designs, usually to the point where you can't really see that it's based on any one particular mech in general. But really what I did was I kind of cobbled together some pieces. I glued some bits on from my bits box. I painted the panels various colors, like random paint schemes. They're all just kind of beaten and weathered and cobbled together, and like an arm got blown off of this trebuchet, and so therefore I picked up a Hatchet Man's leg, or I put it in. I'm the Astrotech kind of bolting that thing back on to keep that thing working. It's really, when you're out in the periphery, you're kind of on the fringes of civilization. You don't necessarily have all the resources, the big houses or the big militaries. You got to make do with what you got. right? And so, if you've got a trebuchet, right, and you were in a battle, and you got your leg blown off, and the only leg that you've got available to you is the Hatchet Man who just tried to take off your head. Well, you're going to take off that Hatchet Man's leg, assuming the Hatchet Man is kind of done and dusted, and like there's no hope for that Hatchet Man, and you're going to put that leg on your battle mech, and you're going to hope for the best, right? And so that's really what I did. So I took some mechs, I had some 3D printed designs, I had some old parts from old 40K or old Games Workshop games or whatnot, and I just started kind of hacking things apart and putting them together. I'll kind of walk you through what these things are. So this is a Catalyst Game Labs Hatchet Man. But I took off got my side switched. That's his left arm and his left leg. I had a 3D printed griffin, and I just chopped off the arm and the leg of the griffin, chopped off the arm and the leg of the Hatchet Man, pinned him in place, started painting, and that's you can kind of think that this arm is from some griffin that they found or battled, and that arm looked good. Let's just take that arm, and this leg from that griffin, hey, it survived from another griffin or whatever, right? So he's put together, and he's battle ready. He's got a little rust, he's got a little bit of dirt, he's got his hazard stripes, and he's got some weathering going on there, but that Hatchet Man, he's ready to rock, man. He's a periphery pirate. He's not taking any guff from anyone. So similarly, like with this Marauder, right? I cut off the front of the cannon. I put I think that's a third-party plasma or a melta-gun or a plasma gun knockoff from Spellcrow or Anvil Industries. I'm not sure. I got that years ago. I don't know where that's from. I found a tube. I think that's from a Horus Heresy Thalax, fusion cannon. That's a Space Marine knife that I cut down a little bit and glued to the bottom of that arm. And then just kind of started bolting things together. I got a little missile here. That's from a 40K Space Marine, I think, or some crap like that. So anyways, I just kind of glue these parts together and make it kind of look like a whole, and then paint and prime it up. And I wanted a theme of it's very much patchwork paint jobs. They don't care what they look like. They just come for a fight. They're in it for the space bucks. They're not in it for any glory or honor to any house. And they've got a little bit of a theme going here with the hazard stripes. So I kind of wanted to make that ubiquitous. So anyways, that guy's a Marauder. And then, there's the infamous sombrero hat, El Jefe. I call this guy El Jefe. He doesn't have any parts chopped off, but I did put a 40K axe in his hand. And now when I put these things on the table, at some point I'm going to put these things on the table. Now, maybe I'll mod it, maybe I won't, but if it's like a standard match, I'm just going to assume, hey, that axe is there for flavor, but I could totally put hey, he's got a hand weapon or something like that. You can totally do that in the rules. And I put a little sombrero on, because hey, why not, right? It's a little bit fun, it's a little bit goofy, but I dig it. It's I posted this on Facebook a while ago, and then some very sharp-eyed commentator, I forget who you are. If this is you and you stumble upon this video, I'd love to hear from you. But somebody posted a comment that I just got a real big chuckle out of. I was like, can you imagine the amount of textiles and the amount of process it would take to weave a mech scale sombrero? I was like, you know what? You're right. That's incredible. That's crazy. Who would do a thing? So that's that guy. And then I've got this Wolverine here. Again, I took a Chaos spiky bit, put that on his head, put a little hook there. Maybe he drags parts, you can see him dragging stuff, off the battlefield, and, put some missiles on his shoulder there. No real chopping of limbs on this guy, but lots of weathering, lots of, scratches and dirt and grime and, rust in there. See if I can get real good pictures in there. I tell you what, this project was so much fun. Oh, here's one of my favorites, actually. I'll be honest, the Blackjack really isn't one of my favorite mechs. But chopping this guy up. So this guy has an arm. I think this is the Hatchet Man's other arm, right? The one that I took from the Griffin over here. So I'm pretty sure that's the Hatchet Man's other arm. I took the autocannon that came off of the original arm, glued that on top, sort of made it look like a gun. Then I glued this heavy bolter ammo belt on the side there to kind of make it look like, he's got some Dakar rock in there from the ammo belt, and like, he's rocking out with his handheld AC-20 and his good AC-20. And so, there was an arm conversion here. I guess the point is that, this was such a fun project. Don't be shy about doing this stuff. Like, I had such a blast. It kind of reinvigorated. So this guy, like, this guy's the Locust Pilot. He's the emo goth dude. He's got the spiky earring, with the spike and the chains on it, and he's got some rooster feather McStabby things on top of his head. These, I can just see the Aztecs kind of welding this crap onto their mechs to kind of make them look like Ravagers in what's that show? Ravagers in Firefly. I never saw that show. I don't know why. It's totally up my alley, but I never watched that show. I saw the movie Serendipity, but I never watched the TV show. So anyways, here's a Phoenix. I love the Phoenix Hawk. And here's maybe like the scout leader of the Phoenix Hawk. He's got a big old spiky thing. I painted a skull and crossbones. This guy, I call him Crossbones. He's got an augmented large laser. I don't know what bit that's from. It's a 40K bit. It came out of like a tank or some crap like that. I don't know what it is. A little spiky. This is a shoulder sling for a heavy bolter, or a bolter from a Chaos Space Marine. So I call him Crossbones Butterfingers because he seems to keep dropping his large laser. And he put that, his Lance buddies put that strap on there so that he would never lose his large laser. Yeah, that's him. So we already talked about him, again, chopped his leg off, put a new leg on there. There's, I've got a mech or two that doesn't have a mate to some of the legs, but that's okay, right? I had fun. This guy's only moderately modified. He's got like a little hook here that I glued on, again, some 40K bit. Got some McStabby bits that I pinned on there. But again, with the hazard striping and with the corrosion and the rust and the scuffs, and you just imagine these big mechs kind of being rough and tumble and really getting into a big scrap. Let's go over here. This guy is a 3D printed Hunchback. Lots of no conversion bits here, but I just kind of went with patchwork paint, lots of scuff. The way that I do these kind of I don't know if we can get the camera to cooperate here, but you can kind of see some of those scrapes and dings and scuffs. That is from a sponge. You just lightly dip it, and don't put it in pure black. Oh, here's a good one. Let's see if we can get the camera to behave here. That's where you take like a charcoal or a graphite color, like a dark gray, put on a little bit of sponge that you get from your pluck foam in your cases, dab it, and wipe off most of the excess, and then just dab it onto the miniature here. Let's see if we can get a better picture here. Yeah, there we go. So you do that with the charcoal, and then you do it with your favorite silver or your favorite metal color, and it looks like scuffs. Works like a charm. It's fantastic. And here's just a simple, here's one that I didn't decide to go all out on. It's just a Valkyrie. He's got some painted panels that are a little bit different and whatnot. This guy I went a little bit crazier on. So you can see this Warhammer, and you can see that I kind of I shaved down the left lower leg, and I put some plastruct panels on there, just like that's like some welded improvised armor. You can see that little edge there that I made. That's a little bit of green stuff that I put on there to kind of make like a thick, messy weld. There's another one. But yeah, this guy is, some improvised armor on him. And so again, when I play these guys, they'll probably be played just exactly like they normally do, but I just want it to look different, right? I want it to look a little bit unique, a little bit different, not the same old. And again, get them weathering on there, get the hazard stripes there. Someone might accuse these guys of being Iron Warriors. Anyways, I wanted to show that off a little bit. It had so much fun kind of painting and modeling and modding and cutting and, being creative. And even if you're just doing like a simple repositioning of arms, like on your regular battle max, give that a go because there's lots of space to explore here. This guy might be my favorite. I really like the Marauder, but the Hatchet Man might be my favorite, even though it's probably not my favorite mech. But what can you do? Anyways, so this was my little exploration of going down the rabbit hole into Frankenmechs for the periphery, and veterans and newbies and middle range players alike. What do you think? Is this something you would do? Like, do you mod your BattleTech minis? If so, how do you mod them? Do you do something like this? Do you go crazier? Do you go simpler? Let's talk about how you mod. Do you make Frankenmechs? Do you find that enjoyable? What if somebody rolled up to the table and had Frankenmechs like this? And what would you say? Would you be cool playing? Like same rules, right? But just kind of looks a little bit different. I got my pirate junker mechs coming to get your fat loot. Whatever. How would you react? What would you do? Hey, thanks for watching. Comment and below and see what. Tell me what you think. And thanks for watching.